So today I want to talk about the very first video I ever edited for Thomas Franks. Now this is gonna go back 5 years. This is actually, this has a lot of interesting backstory to it. It's this one, the best note-taking device ever. iPad Pro versus paper notebooks. I still remember to this day this video, when I even started doing it, how I felt. But let's go through it, and I'm just gonna let nature take its course with what I choose to talk about here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we are pitting new technology versus old technology because a lot of you guys have been asking me to compare the iPad Pro to a regular old notebook when it comes to the task of note-taking. And since I have only...
One thing I want to say already, the music in the background to me is still so iconic for Tom. When I first met him, that background music was the music that we used for nearly every video for a while. But every time I hear that song, or when I hear another editor or someone else use it in a video, I just can't help but think that they took Tom's song. It's not his song, but to me, it's tied to Tom now, just by how often we used it. So that's just a funny thing to share, I think. I can't stop thinking of Tom when I hear that song.
And the other cool thing about the Rocketbook is that every single page has this little QR code on it, along with a row of icons.
That's another thing I associate with Tom, because I remember the very first time I met him when I first visited Colorado was when we went to go, I think it was like to eat at a restaurant or just some kind of like hangout place that he took me and my friend to, because I had a friend that came with me to visit. He was using that notebook, and I remember when I edited the video and then I saw him using the notebook, I was like, oh my gosh, you actually are using what you're talking about. And it's only because before I used to think that, you know, a lot of YouTubers would kind of lie about products they use, or maybe I thought they were lying just for the sake of the video. But when I saw Tom and I saw him using the notebook, I thought it was actually really cool because, again, I edited the video, so I was like, oh, this guy actually uses what he was preaching in the video. It was just interesting to me. So I don't know if that really matters to a lot of you, but yeah, I remember that. That was a fun time that day.
You could actually set each of those icons to be for one of your classes and make it really easy to digitize your notes and still write them down on paper. But I digress, this is not a big...
Okay, something funny about that, where he says right here,
and make it really easy to digitize your notes and still write them down on paper. But
I remember when I was editing that, I was having the hardest time trying to understand what Tom's feedback was on that when he was saying to try to find a way to ease in the lines a little better together, because I remember it being very jump cutty. So yeah, looking back on it, it's just like one of those core memories that my brain remembered right now, where I remember this is a video that tested how well I can do A-roll, because I just never had to be that like specific about it. So yeah, I remember that.
And this is the use case where the iPad Pro beats every single other tool out there for my purposes. I've marked up bank statements with it to figure out spending patterns, and as an even better example, I've imported my entire book, 10 Steps to Earning Awesome Grades, as a PDF into this app so I can mark up the typos.
I feel like that was a wasted little spot where I could have added some B-roll for sure. I could have like thrown up a page of Tom doodling with a PDF, or even me doing it, but giving you guys that example. And then I could have also just thrown his book on screen. I don't know if that was some, feedback that he had given me at the time to add or not add, but seeing it now, I definitely should have done that. I think it would have just helped with the information he's saying a little bit more for you guys. So, okay, that was one thing I could have improved on.
Though it does have to be said that an iPad Pro costs hundreds of dollars, possibly even more than $1,000 if you get the top model, and a paper notebook is like, what, $1 from Walmart? The Rocketbook is about $34, though since you can wipe it away, it should eventually pay for itself, and in both cases, they are far and away cheaper than the iPad Pro.
Well, at the end of the video, Tom does state that he does prefer a regular notebook as opposed to the iPad or Apple Pencil. Of course, it just depends on what it is he's gonna be doing. And I'm pretty much on the same boat with him, so it's cool because I agreed with him years ago. I still do to this day. Now, there weren't too many things I noticed that I would change. If anything, I'm more surprised with how I feel the video was fine for what it is. I'm trying not to be obviously a little, biased, because I know I'm the one that edited it, but I still think for the time, for it being my first run in using even like this software, I've never really used Premiere and After Effects and such, I think I did a pretty decent job for a first video. Now, one last thing I want to do is go through the comments and see if there's any comments about the editing or anything like that. Because funny enough, when people comment on videos, at least for ours, I take them personally. And I say that in terms of like, I'm the one that edits it, so any feedback that's given, it comes to me. It doesn't go to Tom, it goes actually to me. So let's see if there's anything here that maybe someone has said. If I wanted to hear that kind of background music, I would have gone to a casino in LV. LV, I assume, stands for Las Vegas, and hey, I mean, if that's just because I had the music too loud, I could have probably dimmed it a little more. Or yeah, if you're saying you just don't like the video's music, well, we used it a lot for like 3 years, so good luck with that. Also, was this sponsored or affiliated by Apple? No, not even close. All right, there's not actually a lot of comments talking about the editing, which is fine, but I will say this, that for my very first video, I'm proud of it. The fact that this was already 5 years ago is nuts to think about, just given how long that we've been working together. And then overall, the fact that it got 1.3 million views in 5 years, I'm very happy with that. I'm glad that it reached a lot of people, and hopefully everything that we did for this video benefited someone, at least one person. If it can reach one person and it does them some good, then we did some good. Now, given that I'm going to be doing a couple of these, it isn't always going to be videos for Thomas Frank. Like I've said, I've edited for a lot of other people, so I'll be on the lookout for other videos I can talk about. But I will say it's been nice to reminisce, nice to think back on what was before and how things were, and just seeing our progress. There's actually some videos where I specifically will talk about the progress we made and some of the changes we've done. Above all, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comment section, or if you have any recommendations for me to review something, leave them down there as well. Follow me on Twitter, that is the only social media site I try to stay active on, aside from YouTube, of course, and then I'll see you guys in the next video.